Ladies and gentlemen, my name is James Scaresbrook, otherwise known as the Intrepid Wino, and welcome to Let's Taste. Another couple of bottles from the cellar, the Intrepid cellar, have been taken out, and I thought I would share my impressions as they are both from the same producer, based in the Yarra Valley, and they're also from the same vintage. So they are from 2006, and they are the Pinot Noir and the dry red wine #1. So, Yarra Yering, quite an important historical producer, part of the rebirth, if you might have heard me mention that on the recent Yeringberg Let's Taste, post, or sort of, I think 1960s, 1970s, there was sort of Yarra Yering and Mount Mary were two of the early reborn or like new wine producers that rejuvenated, revived the Yarra Valley, and Yeringberg, who had already had an estate, a vineyard and a winery in the past, they restarted their wine production as well. So Yarra Yering was originally established by Dr. Bailey Carrodus, and was sold some years ago. So stylistically, they have changed a little bit, because they're owned by a French company, gentleman, who owns Kaesler in Barossa Valley. So I've noticed that stylistically, more recently, the wines have a little bit more in common with Barossa. So let's have a look at the Pinot Noir 2006. I think I might have a corked bottle on my hands here. It definitely smells quite sort of reduced, very, very muted. It has kind of a dampness, a sort of a dustiness to it. Let's taste, and we'll see if we can detect any cork fault on the palate. I think it's possibly a little bit oxidized, but I don't think it's TCA in this case. 2006 from memory was reasonably warm. You know, this is right in the middle of that kind of drought period. So there is some darkness to the fruit for this Pinot Noir. You know, it's pushing beyond sort of cherry and strawberry, more into sort of black currants, maybe some pomegranate, that sort of thing. The oak has softened out quite a lot. It looks a little bit warm, to be honest. At 14.5% alcohol, there might be an extra 0.5 or 1% in there. But it's certainly not, it's not as extractive as our more recent vintages have seemed to me. Again, I'm less excited about Yarra Valley Pinot Noir than I am against, say, Mornington Peninsula Pinot Noir. But this is, it's a very solid example, and it's held up very well at 10 years old. Let's look at the dry red #1, which, if I remember correctly, is a blend of Bordeaux varieties, most probably dominated by Cabernet Sauvignon. There's probably going to be a fair bit of Merlot in there. There might be some Malbec Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc indeed. I've long believed that the best red wine in the Yarra Valley was, as far as style of variety, are the Bordeaux varieties. When you look at, a wine like this, Mount Mary, Yeringberg, Yarra, these really are very, very established, and they have an exceptional pedigree to them. So, the kind of the proof is in the pudding, I guess. So this is where I think possibly Pinot Noir has suffered a little bit from oxidation, because colour-wise it's matured a lot more than the dry red number 1. This still has a lot of colour. It's still very, very dark, you know, good intensity, and so I think that, yeah, maybe something went wrong with that cork. It certainly is. It's a Bordeaux blend, or at least it's dominated by Cabernet, because it has that kind of that leafiness, that cassis plum. Right off the bat, it does have a sort of a dustiness to it. There's you know, a hint of eucalypt in there. Very intense, but quite elegant as well. It's not bombastic. It's not you know, all over the place. And you know, quite nice, sort of firm, assured oak characters. Let's taste. And this sort of, it really does prove my point. This is an outstanding wine. Really, really, just for me, further establishes how good the Yarra Valley has been in the past, and probably continues to be today. How good it is for the Cabernet blends. I'm going to be somewhat controversial here if I haven't already said it already. I actually think the Yarra Valley is probably the premier region for Cabernet blends, and it possibly might disappoint some people, particularly in Noir and the Margaret River. But these are, this is a really outstanding. It's very dense. It's got some darkness. The tannins are firm, but also supple. They're not broad. There's some good acidity. The alcohol is very, very well integrated, as is the oak. I think I'd say this wine could probably go for another 10 years. It was quite a solid vintage for reds. So I possibly have opened this a little bit early, but it's actually really good to see how well this wine has held up. Unfortunately, the Pinot Noir in this case probably hasn't fared as well, but I'll probably drink it anyway. Thank you guys. If you watched this video, I hope you did enjoy it. Please hit that like button if you did. Make sure you subscribe to the Intrepid Wino YouTube channel. Why not watch some more videos? Leave some comments. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, you can always visit me at intrepidwino.com. But until next time, cheers.